Welcome back, folks, part 2. I'm still kind of sick, but I'm going to try and push through it. First things first, I'm not going to try and keep you for a long intro. What I have to do is I have to re-fix this. The old threaded rod stripped out inside this. I had to re-tap it, get a new threaded rod. And this is just the engine leveler, so you can pull the engine out. It's adjustable, so you can get the tilt on your engine. So I have to fix this first, and then we'll get towards pulling the engine. That probably wasn't in focus either.
Yeah, whatever, man.
As you can see, my workbench is still full of LS stuff, so this is the new workbench for now. Oh, that nut fell off. Goes through here. Yes, that seems right. And now I have to weld the nut on this side, so. Got our leveler back. I've been avoiding this for a while now, but it's time to finally do it. I'm gonna get underneath the car and I'm gonna pull the drive shaft. I just didn't want to get on the cold floor, and I'm just being a gigantic pussy, really. So we're gonna pull the drive shaft and the trans lines and sensors and whatever else is underneath the car that we need to pull the engine. And I'm gonna drop the rear diff because we're gonna sell that diff. We're actually gonna get rid of the whole independent rear suspension completely. Kent's actually upgrading to like a 9.5 inch rear end. So we're gonna 4-link that 8.8 into my car. Haters gonna hate. The idea came really from Geo at Real Street, and their new Supra's got a 4-link 9-inch in it. I don't really need to go 9-inch, but the car works well on all kinds of surfaces. It's performing really well, so it's a lot easier route to go a solid axle than it is going to be to build up this independent rear with like a $7,000 Ford 9-inch independent suspension setup. Just makes more sense. Now all I did was I took a piece of Allen key and I cut it off, and now I can use a ratchet wrench and the Allen wrench to get this off. Because these are Allen head bolts. Stuck in the loop. Okay, now that we're under here, we gotta pull that shifter cable right there. The blanket, like engine diaper. There's lines over here. Trans cooler lines, that has to be pulled too. So those have to come out. And then a whole bunch of sensors and stuff. Get the pull in. Sorry for the heater being on. It's the only way I can do this because it's like minus 20 right now. Everything underneath is disconnected. We gotta pull off a couple fuel lines, and then I think it's ready to come out, actually. Oh wait, the wiring harness. Wiring harness and fuel lines. Obviously I can't film underneath the car. It's like trying to lick your mama's butt and see what her face is doing at the same time. You just can't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this front bumper off too, because if you don't pull it off, then the hoist doesn't reach all the way back into the engine compartment. Look how disgusting they are. They look like they've been driving across your mama's ass 17 times. Yo mama. So you need like 2 elbows to get at this bolt. Like your arm has to bend this way and then this way and then this way again. So I might invest in 2 elbows next time. Okay, well that was a bitch by myself. I had to cut a couple wires because they were wired in without a connector, so I just had to cut them. I'll splice them back in after. Engine's here. Those of you who don't know, it's just a stock bottom end with some cams and springs. Nice manifold, big turbo. And a Turbo 400 behind it. I wasn't actually gonna pull it out because it's actually running really good and there's nothing wrong with it and there was no reason to pull it out except for I'm gonna have to fill these holes in the firewall. And then I'm probably gonna paint the firewall too. And then I might have to hammer out the trans tunnel a bit if I go SFI bell housing. I'm also going to be deleting the power steering stuff and then I'll just loop the lines here because I don't know if they offer a manual rack for this setup. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull the transmission off the engine. I'm going to put it on the fuckboy. That's what we named our little cart thing. Yes! Alright, so we actually have to get up in here. And that's where our flywheel bolts are. So those are going to have to come off to get the torque converter off. And there's like 6 of them, and it's really annoying to do. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and then we can pull the trans off. Oh, there's another one right there. Duh. Ow, my ears. Oh my god. The same one on the other side. I'm so stupid sometimes.
Yeah, whatever, man.
There we go. Now it is a built Turbo 400. It'll hold like 1,000 horsepower. It's got like a billet Pro Mod Sprag and stuff in it. It just doesn't have the billet input shaft. So the transmission's fine for now, but if I do make big power, I'm gonna have to put a billet input shaft in it. Also, I do need to get an SFI bell housing and a new torque converter, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but it's racing. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and label all my bolts so I don't forget where they come from. While we're in here, we'll pull the flywheel bolts off as well. There we go, I'll straddle it.
What the fuck?
I had to use it this way and cut these off a little bit because just how the length of the bolt, because it's a really fine thread bolt for a super transmission. I think it's like 0.125, which is like an odd type of bolt. We're just gonna go ahead and pop the turbo back on because it's probably the safest place I can keep it. Look at that though, look at it. It's so nice. Pretty big. I mean, it's a 76 millimeter. While we're in here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this one too. The chassis has to go down to get a cage, so the engine doesn't need to be in there. And it's a really expensive engine to be just like laying around, so we're gonna put it on the cart. And then also for all the haters out there, I did buy Kent's 8.8 rear end. He's gonna go Ford 9-inch. And I did buy the wheels and brakes, so the Supra's getting a solid axle. And my fab guy's gonna fab it up. The same guy who made this exhaust. So Roy at AFR AutoWorks is gonna set me up with a 4-link for this. It's gonna be like a custom jobby and it's gonna be all cool and it's gonna 60 foot like a badass, but this is an example of some of his work that he does. Yeah, that's my hood exit exhaust. So both screamer pipes merge into it and comes out. teardrop, pretty sexy. Alright, so anybody who's unaware of this build, this is a Mach-E build. There's tons of video series on my YouTube channel of it. It's a built 5.4, billet crank, ported heads, big cams, all the good stuff. Should make like 1200 horsepower. Does have a chassis drive Pro Charger that sits on the front of it. And there's a power line behind it. So now we have the LS build, the Mustang Mach 1 build, and the Supra build. Alright, that's likely going to conclude this episode. We got the engine out, the trans is over there on the floor, but mainly we have access to all this now. We'll get it all cleaned up for sure. And then we can start deciding what we can delete and rewiring and moving. This can all go because I'm going to trunk mount battery next, 16 volt. This power steering stuff can go, so we'll save a bit of weight there. I have one big trans cooler here, and another one over here. But I'm debating on just running one since it's just going to be a drag car. I'm not going to drive it on the street. So, just in case you forgot, peace easy, guys.